everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm so happy to be back. I took a little bit of a break from Vlogmas and things got really busy in terms of business, so I just really didn't have the time to get on YouTube and film a video, but I am back and I'm excited about this one because today we are talking about why the scale goes up and some things that you can look out for and some ways to kind of use the scale as a tool of progress. So before I start the video, if you have been here multiple times but you're a hater and you haven't subscribed, do that. And also please like that video or dislike it, doesn't matter to me, and get this video in the algorithm. All right, so let's get started with why does the scale go up? Or why does it stay the same but then my body's changing? So I'll tell you a story. When I was competing, I got down to about 120 pounds. So after my show, I think the lowest I was actually 118. So right after my show, of course, everybody's like, ooh, let's go out to eat. And you guys know that 7 years ago, that was like peak broke dieting time. So it was like chicken and veggies only. For me, it was like tilapia 5 meals a day. So I got down to like 118, super low body fat. And then I had my show and people were like, okay, let's go to dinner. So I went out to dinner. I just had pho. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't like I overindulged. And the next day the scale was up like 8 pounds and my face was super round. And of course, like intuitively, I knew that it was just water weight. And a lot of it was the sodium that is in the pho can help draw more water and help you retain water. So I was like, oh my gosh, I gained like 8 pounds. And it's not fat though. It wasn't fat. Number one, I was in a huge deficit. I had water depleted before the show. So my body was really wanting to take in anything and hold on to it. And maybe you've seen something similar, but on a smaller scale. The other thing that you can, that I might want to tell you is that if you get on the scale right now, and let's say your weight's like 148, right? And then you go drink a gallon of water, which is like 3 or 4 pounds. And then you go, of course, please don't go drink a gallon of water. Don't do that. But then you go get on the scale, your weight will go up simply because you put fluids in your body. And so they're sitting in there. So just because the scale goes up doesn't mean that you've gained fat. Now, let's rewind it and talk about why the scale goes up. First of all, before you complain about the scale going up or you have concerns, there's a couple things I want you to do. Number one, make sure that you're actually, in fact, in a caloric deficit. So track your food somehow, some way. See what you're eating. That which is not tracked cannot be measured. So track what you're eating. Make sure that you're in a caloric deficit. I have a video on how to make sure you're in a caloric deficit. Make sure you're consistent in the gym for a week, and then complain about the scale not going up or the scale going up. Number two, make sure you're weighing yourself at the same time of day. So I just told you that if you go drink a gallon of water and then get on the scale will go up. The same thing happens during the day. So if you weigh yourself at 8 o'clock yesterday when you woke up, and then you weigh yourself at 6 o'clock today, the number very well may be different because you have just eaten a day's worth of food and then got on the scale and you drink water and all that. So what I tell my clients is to get up, go to the bathroom, put on your birthday suit and get on the scale. That is to really eliminate as many variables as possible. So that way, you haven't drinking any water, you've just gone to the bathroom and hopped right on the scale in your birthday suit. That is going to give you the most consistent number as possible. Because even how much you drink on a daily basis, water, coffee, tea, juice, whatever, will fluctuate. So if you weigh yourself at night, sometimes you can miss, that number can be misrepresented. So that's number two, before I talk about why the scale actually will go up. Make sure that you're weighing yourself consistently at the same time of day, preferably in the morning, before you eat, after going to the bathroom, in your birthday suit. Okay, now I want to talk about the women who are like, the scale's not moving, but I'm losing inches. Okay, so your fat cells, pretend this is a fat cell. When you are burning fat and when you're losing fat, the cell will empty itself of fat stays the same size and sometimes is filled with water. So your weight will actually stay the same even though you've lost fat. And then the cell will empty the water and the drop will be reflected on the scale. So it's really important to understand that fat loss is not something that happens overnight. Like, you did not lose a pound of fat overnight. You lost some water and then some fat. So this idea that like I gained weight just because the scale is going up or gained fat is actually true in the reverse. You also did not lose a pound of fat overnight. Some of that was water. Some of that was residual fat loss, a reflection of the residual fat loss that had happened before. So again, when you have fat cells, they are emptied of fat and then filled with water first, and then they shrink after they've dumped out the water. So you could lose, theoretically, a pound, usually it's not that much, of fat, and then it not be reflected on the scale yet. But you see it reflected in your body, and that's why the inches go down. Okay, you guys, please let me know in the comments if this makes sense. All right, so why does the scale go up? I just told you sometimes the scale goes up for that reason. Second reason. The other thing is sometimes you just drank more water or drank more sodium the day before, ate more sodium the day before, so your body is retaining water. That's number one. Number two, if you are stressed out and you are having lots and lots and lots and lots of cortisol pumping through your body, you can become inflamed, which means that you are holding on to water. Your body, even if you're doing the right thing, let's say you're working out, you're eating properly, you know you're in a caloric deficit. If you are stressed out, your body will not drop weight because it will hold on to whatever fat it can because it is a state of emergency. So you want to be as relaxed as possible when you are trying to burn fat. Number three, if you are on your cycle, yes, if you're on your cycle and you're a woman and, you have your estrogen, your progesterone, there's dips and highs and lows. A lot of women just gain weight simply for the water. There's extra water in your body. Your body's retaining water because of your hormones from your cycle. So that's very normal. What's not normal is going up 8 or 10 pounds in your cycle. The next reason is some of us have eaten a pretty big meal and the next day the scale goes up and we're like, oh my gosh, I gained a pound of fat. And it's like, actually, unless you ate 3,500 calories on top of your maintenance calories and didn't exercise and burned 0 calories that day, then maybe you gained a pound of fat. It's very, very hard to gain a pound of fat overnight. What more than likely happened was you ate more carbohydrates than normal, you ate more fat than normal, you ate more protein than you usually do, and your body didn't have time to digest it, or it held on to a little more water because of the extra food, but it wasn't necessarily fat. And we have to become detached from the scale because we get on it every morning sometimes and think that the scale is telling us the entire story, and it's not. Okay, so here's what I think people should do with the scale. Number one, yes, use it. And in fact, I ask my clients to weigh themselves every single day. And someone's gonna be like, oh, eating disorders, I had one. Don't come at me. In fact, it's so good to see how your body naturally fluctuates so you don't freak out. And what my clients find is like, oh, it's almost like, oh, I went up 3 pounds, period must be coming. And guess what? Boom. Right on time. It's like a way to kind of get to know your body. So sometimes, the scale will go down and then it'll go up a pound or 2 and then it goes back down. And this kind of helps you realize that, 2 to 3 pounds difference really isn't a fat gain necessarily, unless it's sustained. And so sometimes when you're looking at the number every day, you might see 151, 150, 149, then it shoots back up to 153. It's like you didn't gain 4 pounds of fat, and then it goes back down to 152. So it really teaches you not to really obsess over the scale, okay? The other thing is fat loss and weight loss are 2 different things. So weight loss can be anything. It can be water loss, fat loss, tissue loss, but true fat loss is the loss of fat tissue. And that is very, very slow. So if you're seeing a rapid number down on the scale, you're probably losing a lot more tissue, water, excess fluid than you are fat. Because fat loss takes time. That happens over time. And you can lose weight on the scale and your body never change. That's how you know you're not actually losing fat. When you lose fat, your inches go down as well. And that's why it's so important to take measurements, because you can use the scale and the tape measure as a method for your progress and say, okay, how does my body look in the mirror? What does the scale say? And then what are my measurements? And you can use those three combined to really get an accurate picture of your progress. So the scale does not dictate the whole story. Now, if it's going up on a steady incline, you're eating too much probably, or you have a metabolic problem, and I suggest you see a doctor. Okay, but the scale does not tell the whole story. So please do not get on the scale thinking that just because it went up, you gained a pound of fat. That is not so. Okay? All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was fun to be back on here. Let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see next. I think my next video, as I said before, my Instagram, is going to be about entrepreneurship and kind of the next steps that I'm taking with that. If you're not following me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me at _coach.joe, or you can just type Joanna and it should go in there. You can also find me on Facebook at Fit and Flourishing, and I'm on Twitter, but I don't know my Twitter handle. I don't know my Twitter handle. Okay, well, anyway, you guys, it was fun to be back. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.